Hello my dear friends and welcome to my channel. Don't forget to make yourself a cup of coffee if you want, because today we have very interesting stories, and one of them is a story about a woman who treated badly her pregnant daughter, OP, and then something happened. Please subscribe if you haven't and I hope you'll enjoy it. Cast. Me. You boy, EM. Crazy lady, K. Kid, M. My awesome mom, D. My awesome dad, R. Receptionist. This happened a few days ago. Let's set the scene. I'm 14 and I was at the hospital visiting my mom, who is a nurse, in the waiting room, and my brother and I decided to surprise her for her birthday by showing up with flowers and a card. Our dad dropped us off but couldn't come in because he was in a conference call. He's an IT worker. The receptionist told us to wait for a bit as they were in the middle of a surgery. During this time, I pulled out my Nintendo Switch because I was bored and decided to load up some Mortal Kombat 11. My brother, who didn't really want to play, decided to because he was also bored and because I also kinda begged him to play. I handed him a Joy-Con and we selected our characters. Mine being Sindel, my main, and his being Sub-Zero, his main. We battled it out on the Deadpool stage, which ended up in a 2-1, and I won. My brother handed me the Joy-Con, and as I took it, I heard a tap on my shoulder. Here enters EM and K. EM was a classic Karen. Blonde hair, 90s clothes, a nasally voice, and eyes that said, "Can I speak to your manager?" Hello. I was wondering if my son could play that nice game you were playing. The kid looked to be around 10-11 years old. I smiled and said okay, but warned him it was a bit graphic. I'm sure it will be fine. Okay then. We started off with selecting characters, and he warned me that he was gonna, according to him, kick my butt so hard. I smirked and instantly locked Sindel, splitting hairs, while he picked Noob Sabit, seeing double. He asked to review the moves, and I let him because I wanted him to have a fair chance. He did, and we began to fight. I started the round off with a forward 2-1 combo into an amplified scream. He began furiously mashing the buttons. He hit me with a 2-1-2, which did some decent damage, but it ended in a 2-0, with me performing the hair today gone tomorrow fatality, in which, gore warning, Sindel does a quick backwards cartwheel, I think, and then uses her hair to grab the arms of her opponent. Then she screams at them so loud their skin starts to tear off from the face to the waist, and their bottom half falls away. She then does a star screamer to blast the remaining bits apart so they fly all over the screen. All of a sudden I hear EM's voice yell, "What the hell did you show my kid?" My brother and I both jumped, and I turned to her. "Miss, you allowed him to play this, and I even warned you that it was gory. You didn't seem to care." "I don't care. You should have let him win, so he can traumatize you with this crap." She tries to grab the Switch from me, and I pull away, leaning into my brother as she swipes at me again, her nails scratching at my hands. "Give me that." My brother turns to her and pushes her away. He's the more confrontational one. "Hey. Leave him alone. It's a game that he warned you about, and again, you didn't listen." At this time, my mom walks in and sees the commotion going on. "What's going on here?" EM, switching into victim mode, says. "You have to help me. Those horrible teenagers tried to show my son a murder game, and they tried to assault me and my son." M, immediately seeing us, terrified, says. "Boys, did you do that?" We both shook our heads. EM then says, "They're horrible children. They should be arrested." She then turned quickly and gave us a smirk, then switched back into victim mode. My mom then said, "I highly doubt what you're saying is true. For one, we have cameras everywhere, and two, they're my kids." EM, spluttering. "They're your kids." My mom nods, and EM starts going on a rant about how bad of a parent she is, and my dad must have left home for a mistress. He hasn't, but my parents are divorced. My mom immediately went into rage mode. "Shut the hell up about my kids. You have no right to judge them for the games they play. I got that game for him for his birthday. You also don't have a right to judge me for being a mother. R, call security and have them escort this woman out." R nods, and in minutes, 3 burly guards are there. 2 of them get her out of the room, and the third one stays behind to ask what happened. EM's kid is following her, asking why they can't stay. We walk outside to see EM getting handcuffed and put in a cop car, and a police officer asked us if we wanted to press charges. We said yes. She was charged with assault, destruction of property, the Nintendo was a bit scratched, and attempted theft. D walked over, putting himself on mute so the others in the call couldn't hear him. He asked us what happened and we gave him our story. He nodded and then apologized before returning to his call by the car. Still manages to surprise me how people can be surprised at Mortal Kombat being violent when that was always its shtick all the way back to when it came out in 1992 and freaked people out with its violence. I work at local amusement park TM as an attendance surveyor. We stand off to the side in lines and request quick surveys from guests while they wait. This position also makes us the first line of defense against line jumping, which most of the time is an honest mistake. People don't realize that saving spots isn't allowed or that leaving to use the bathroom forfeits your spot in line. When a teenager or a child rejoins a group, I usually only give the family a warning and inform them of the rule, and most of the time they won't raise a fuss. This was not one of those times. Enter entitled dad, squeezing his way up a narrow section of line, straight past me mid-survey. I finish up and watch as he continues on nearly to the front of the line before stopping next to a girl who I could have mistaken for a shorter adult. So I approach. "Sir, you can't join your party after they've entered the line." "It's okay, she's my daughter." "That's not the problem, you can't go ahead of all these people." There was a 20-minute wait. "Come on man, she's alone. Look the other way, just this once." The daughter has said nothing and looks embarrassed and uncomfortable. "I can't do that. If she's alone we have a single rider line that you could use." "Fine, I won't ride." He's not a convincing liar and we're 2 minutes from the ride, so I decide to stand with him to make sure. 1 minute later. "Can't you just look the other way?" Abandoning the lie. "No sir." "Do you have a daughter?" "No sir." Mutters something like "I didn't think so." I take a moment to wonder if he realizes what a bad example he is setting for her, during which he finally notices the single rider line I suggested earlier. What the hell? They can just get right on. That's the single rider line I told you about earlier. Why can't I just use that? You just can't guarantee if you'll ride with your daughter. ED squeeze past some kids and moves into the single rider line, at which point he's away from me and I need to get back to work. I walk down and inform some guests who ask if I got him, and as I turn notice him walking down the single rider line. Apparently the attendant saw the fiasco and refused him entry. Yeah, we took care of it. Well, that's what happens when you don't follow the rules. His poor daughter must have been quite embarrassed. Looks like the karma goddess gave that entitled dad a smackdown. Past. Me. Massive earphones. EM. Entitled mom. ES. Entitled sister. P1. Policeman. P2. Other policeman. AS. Awesome sister. BF. Boyfriend, now ex-husband. For a bit of context, this was about 4 or 5 years ago and at the time, so the dialogue probably won't be 100% accurate, I was about 5 months pregnant. I was 16 and living with my EM and ES, yes, child's dad was in the picture. My mother had always been extremely entitled and considered her own issues above others, even her own children. It once took her over a week of me complaining after a sports accident to be seen by a doctor. I had a severe concussion. But that's a story for another time. On to the story. The day had started off like any other, but I was in a pretty bad mood. Pregnancy hormones are raging, and I looked like a ticking time bomb to BF. He suggested coming over to my house to cuddle and watch movies. I happily agreed but told him I had to ask EM first, and we simultaneously sighed. EM has never liked BF, and at this point I had known him for 8 years, we were good friends before we decided to start dating. I go and ask her as nicely as possible if me and him could spend some time together as I was feeling kinda stressed and needed to relax. Keep in mind, he literally lives right across the street. Me. Mom, can BF please come over and watch movies with me? I'm feeling kinda stressed out and I'd like to spend some time with him. No, I've got a headache and besides, look, we're spending time with him got you anyways. Okay, but you didn't need to be rude. Mumble something I couldn't make out. I call him back up and let him know it's a no-go. We're both obviously disappointed but really can't do much about it. BF suggests playing Minecraft together and I agree before hanging up and going to get on my computer. We're both huge gaming nerds and Minecraft was our little thing we did together when EM refused to let me see him. Jump forward to later on that night. I had forgotten all about EM's rude comment and was feeling pretty content. I was making my way to the bathroom when ES cuts in front of me. I need to pee. Okay, can I go first? I really gotta go. No, I was here first and you should have gone sooner if you need to go that badly. Grumpily, fine. ES takes a whole 5 minutes, but for a pregnant chick, it felt like forever. Finally, ES comes out and goes down the hall into her room. I walk in and didn't even get the chance to shut the door before EM pushes it back open. I need to take a bath. Okay, just let me pee real quick. No, get out. I need to take a bath first. I contained my sigh and walked back out the door. I go back to my room and 10 minutes later, I'm dangerously close to pissing myself. I go to the bathroom door and knock. Mom, I really need to pee, can I please come in and use the bathroom? Audible sigh, yay, just make it quick. I've barely just sat down before the bomb drops. I knew her just dropping it was too good to be true. For some context, I've always been a good and quiet kid. Even as a teen I never smoked, never did medicine and wasn't an easy girl. A breaking rubber was the cause of my pregnancy. You were very disrespectful today. How? You know I don't like BF, why would you ask if he could come over? You should be more respectful than that. Getting irritated, I've been pretty stressed out this week and I just wanted some support, he is the father of my child after all. Do I not support you? Do I not give you a roof over your head and food to eat? You should be thankful I'm letting you stay here in your condition. Biting my tongue, you know I love you, but I need a different kind of support sometimes, I need some emotional support. I stand up to leave when I hear her mumble under her breath. Easy girls don't get emotional support. I froze for a minute, trying to process what she just said. I was used to her insults by now. From a young age, 5 or 6, I was called many things including useless, pathetic, lazy, stupid and a few others. She would constantly put me down and borderline beat and degrade me. My dad was an addict and an alcoholic, still is, and was never in the picture. Hell, I didn't even meet him until I was 8 years old. She would constantly say that I would end up just like him and that I shouldn't even try to be more than that. I was heavily depressed from the age of 10 onward and I still deal with depression now. I saw red. I just stood there for a second before sitting back down onto the closed toilet. She paid me no attention at all. I don't condone violence and thinking back I shouldn't have lost my temper, but those hormones are a witch. I stood up and threw her bra at her while she was in the tub. She started screaming like a maniac and I started out the bathroom, visibly angry. ES comes bursting from her room and shoots past me into the bathroom. Here's a little visual for you guys. I lived in a 2-story apartment with a bathroom door just to the side of the staircase, but on the opposite wall. It's 2 sets of stairs with a landing in the middle and railings on the sides of the stairs. My mom's room was directly to the right of the stairs and mine, and ES's bedrooms were down a short hallway. I start towards the stairs as I was intent on storming out of the house. All of a sudden, I feel ES kick me very hard in the back between my shoulder blades. I quickly grabbed onto the rail with my right hand and catch myself with the other and ended up stumbling down 1 or 2 of the top steps. What the hell is wrong with you? I'm pregnant, you dumb. I'm calling the police. I threw a bra at her, why the hell would you call the police? ES then ignored me as she pulled out her phone and dialed 911. She went back into the bathroom and shut the door. I head downstairs and go outside to cool off on the front porch. Sure enough, not 5 minutes later 2 police cars pull up and M&S walk outside. I got a call about a domestic assault. Points at me sitting down, she attacked me while I was in the bathtub. Not really, sir, she insulted me and I threw her bra at her. I never laid a hand on her. P1 takes a good minute to look at me. I guess he noticed my belly and seen that I had been crying. I wasn't showing a lot, but it was still noticeable. He motions for P2 to come over and I walk off to the side with him and I tell him everything that happened, including earlier today. P2 walks me back over to them. Yes, ma'am, is it true you tried to kick her down the stairs and are fully aware that she is pregnant? She's lying. She's the violent one, she attacked mom. Do you have any proof of ES doing this? I turn around and lift up my long hair, lo and behold there is a partially visible shoe print on my back. P1 asks if he can look and I consent to him pulling down the collar of my t-shirt, only for them to see a sizable bruise starting to form. P1 asks if ES can explain this, but she clams up completely and EM acts like there is nothing there. P1 leads me off towards one of the cars while P2 stands with him. I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have you call someone to come and pick you up for the night. I need to ask you, would you like to press charges against ES? Thinking back now, I wish I had. I told him doing that would only make my home life worse than it is now. He said that since I was 16, I should look into emancipation. I denied an ambulance ride stating that I would get checked out in the morning. ES was told that no charges would be pressed against her for assault of a pregnant woman. I still watched the color drain from her face regardless. Meanwhile, I called AS and filled her in on what happened. She got there almost as quick as the cops did, and we had a long chat on the ride to her house. EM is still entitled, but so much less than she used to be. When I turned 18, I verbally tore her a new one, and with no danger of getting kicked out as I then lived with BF, who I was married to at the time. ES is no longer entitled and we get along great. Realizing she almost went to jail, she did a complete 180 on life and is now a healthy, responsible and unentitled adult. It's great that your sister realized what she was doing wrong and finally grew some common sense, but you shouldn't have had to go through that situation in the first place. Never would I ever expect a Karen in my neighborhood. But there she is in all her glory. Not my story. My son's, however, I'll tell it as I'm beyond mad. It's been a long week and getting any exercise is almost impossible. So I built in walks for my son to do during the day. Mainly so he doesn't become a sloth and so the dog can get out. Dog is an American Pit Bull Terrier. Or nanny dog. They were originally bred to nanny while mom and dad worked on the farm. In no way are they born killers. That's a training they get. Pup was abandoned and despite that she's beyond loving and trusting. We fostered her, but discovered that if we sent her off to another family, after being jumbled around from foster to foster her love and trust would go away. We are foster fails. We have 2 mean cats. They will kill birds, possums, and anything they think they can kill. You now know the dynamics, on to the short story. Boy was walking Pup and minding his distance from everyone. No one is out so he's good. Then he happens upon a house with a woman and her child in their driveway. Boy crosses the street as we taught him, mainly because Pup is a pit bull and people are nuts. That dog is a killer. It's a she, should be killed. Boy was stunned, he didn't say anything at first. Just reached into his pockets to get his phone to call me. Give me your dog, he needs to die. I'm sure he's killed and tasted blood. I bet he kills birds. Remember my cats do but Pup. Nope, she's just a love. That's when my son got real scared and told the lady to back off. He was so shaken. If you follow me I will call the police. Nothing has happened yet. However, I'm going to take Pup for a walk at the same time tomorrow and see if she's out. I'm beyond mad. 1. There are several pit bulls in this neighborhood. 2. Who do you think you are trying to take a pet from a kid? And 3. How did a Karen move in without us knowing? Pup has been here 6 months and we walk her daily, she should have seen us. I really don't know why some people can't just mind their own business. Pit bulls are amazing family dogs and how dare she threaten to take his dog away. Well guys, that's it for today. If you end up enjoying this video please consider subscribing, and if you missed the last episode on the channel I'm gonna link it right here. The story is about a woman who left her children in a hot car and then made a scene. Check this out if you haven't, and I'll see you in my next video.